As we look at the new features for Chief Architect X12, we have added several new tools that will improve your productivity with our new presentation-oriented features. Let's begin by looking at our new Style Palette tool. Style palettes have been introduced in X12 to make the process of applying style options an easy process. Style palettes can include cabinets, doors, windows, and rooms. Once you have modified these objects, you can add them to a style palette. For each of these objects, you can choose which properties they match and apply. Style palettes can be saved in your library and shared with other users. Once your palette is created, you can apply it with the scoping tools, by object, room, floor, entire plan, or by a marquee when you are in plan view. You can very quickly apply options to a room scene using the new Style Palette tool. In 3D views, you can set the exterior wall to auto-hide while navigating. As you rotate the camera view, the front-facing walls disappear, opening up the view. This feature works especially well for viewing small rooms. In a 3D camera, you can create light sets for control over lighting. Light sets can now be used with ray trace rendering for independent lighting control. In 3D framing views, you can display doors, windows, and skylights by turning on that specific layer. If you are bringing forward a legacy plan into X12, you can change the 3D view default to display these openings. For added 3D navigation flexibility, you can use a game controller on a PC. With the game controller, you can fly through designs using the thumbsticks and keypad for smooth and precise navigation. And while navigating, you can record to create 3D walkthrough videos. Waterfall countertops can now be automatically created on any edge of a custom countertop. Select an edge and use the new Edit tool to add the waterfall. The waterfall's thickness will match the counter's thickness. The default option is to miter for the waterfall joint. You can control this miter setting in the Countertops dialog on the General panel. You can now apply unique materials to the interior of cabinets. When you use the Material Painter in component mode, a separate material can be applied to the cabinet interior that is separate from the cabinet box. We have added a checkbox as a quick way to turn on and off the cabinet options for the countertop, backsplash, and toe kick. For cabinets, there are new offset controls for top-mounted fixtures and appliances. You can define a front and center side offset value to accurately control placement. An object information panel is available for soffits to include details that can be reported to a materials list and referenced in schedules and macros. When making a change to door hardware, often you use the same hardware on both sides of the door. We have made that process easier with a Match Interior option that will replicate the hardware on both sides of the door. A visual point-to-point center tool makes it easy to center an item between two objects. For example, to center this window between the two cabinets, click on each end of the cabinets to center the window. In another example using CAD objects, I can use the Point-to-Point Center tool and project 2 points to choose for centering. You will notice as you hover your mouse, the object outline will follow, and when you click it, it will be moved to that point. Point-to-point editing now has visual feedback. When using the point-to-point move and point-to-point resize for images, you will see visual indicators of starting and ending locations to assist with precise editing. In X12, you can define the frame size for panel-style doors. There are panel settings for the left, right, top, and bottom to create garage and entry doors with asymmetric windows. Polyline solid editing is now much more flexible, allowing edits to the solids in any view, regardless of where it was created. As I draw this polyline solid in plan view, then take an elevation, it can be edited, including the shape and adding a hole. There are several great new features in Chief Architect X12, and you can expect to see it in early 2020. And remember, all new software purchases include a year of support and software assurance. So, if you are not currently a customer, get started with Chief Architect today.